Right, so I've just seen a creepy article and I said, you know what, I got to talk about this. A woman traveling solo in Japan found a man hiding under her bed in a Tokyo hotel. Lord have mercy. That happened to me, I'll probably scream like Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But she's done a video explaining the whole situation.
I found a strange man under my bed in my hotel room. I booked my solo trip to Japan because I thought Japan is a very safe country. I stayed in very well-known chain hotel in Japan, Appa Hotel, that is in Tokyo near.
Hold up, is that 3 stars out of 5? Not high enough for me. Not high enough for me. We got to do minimum 4 stars. If I'm going to a hotel, minimum 4 stars. Sorry, 3 stars, I'll start thinking, why is it so low? She said it's well known. Why is it so low then?
The place looked legit with a key card that allowed me access only to my floor and to my room. On the first day, everything was fine. The next day, after a day of sightseeing, I came back around 7:30 p.m., unlocked my room like usually, took off my clothes, lay down on the bed, and then I noticed a weird smell. At first, I thought it was coming from my hair or the bed sheets, but then I realized it was coming from under the bed. Jokingly, I thought, what if the dead person laying under the bed? But when I leaned over to check, I saw a pair of eyes staring at me.
Hell no, hell no. I don't want to see no eyes, like I said, unless it's my cat Macy, fine. But I don't want to see no rats. I don't want to see, let alone a spider, no raccoons. This is sounding like an episode of Goosebumps. I used to watch that growing up. There were some creepy episodes. And there was the one that stuck with me as well. It literally was about always checking under the bed. This episode was actually scary at the time. And it was about that, basically it was a portal to hell. Every time you go to sleep, the children were supposed to check under the bed because some portal would open up. And yeah, goblins, ghouls and all sorts. But how the hell did that individual get in there? Were they having a cookout underneath the bed? Bruh. And like I said, she was saying that, as far as I'm aware, there was no signs of like a break-in or whatever. So, did he have his own key card? How long's he been in the facility? So no one saw him on the CCTV. I got more questions than answers.
I saw Asian man under my bed. I started to scream and jumped on my feet. The man climbed out from under the bed and stared at me for 3 seconds. Those seconds felt like my life is over. Then he started to scream too and ran out from my room.
Nah.
I screamed for help and the hotel administration came and called the police. They found power bank and USB cable under my bed. I was kept asking the hotel how did it happen, and they didn't have any answer for me. Even more, they suggested up front that police won't find the intruder because they had no cameras.
And there we go. It goes back to, why is that hotel 3 stars? Is it because there's no CCTV? Like I said, and she said there was a smell underneath the bed, unless he's cooking a dead rodent. Like, what's going on? And staring at the person for 3 seconds, I would have swung. I would have had to, you know when the fear just kicks in or something, well that's the adrenaline. You have to chin them. Because there's just no, he's screaming, like I said, he's now screaming like Carlton Banks, and then he's doing a runner, like Roadrunner. Come back here! Why are you running? No, that's crazy.
Scared and unsafe, I moved to another hotel and demanded a full refund. The next day, the original hotel didn't even contact me or send an email with report. When I reached out to Agoda, through which I booked the hotel, they offered me $178 in coupons, which was ridiculous compared to the $600 I paid for 3 nights. I called the hotel directly, demanding a full refund and proper report. By the evening, they agreed to refund my original payment, but the police couldn't identify the intruder. The next days of my trip were a nightmare. I couldn't sleep. I was constantly on edge, checking every corner of my room. I eventually wrote to the hotel demanding compensation for emotional damage, asking for $1,600. They refused, saying it wasn't in their policy. Now I'm left wondering how someone could get into my room, how someone knew that I'm alone in that room, and how the hotel can't take responsibility for such a severe breach of safety. Story to be well known, so the APA hotel take real action and travelers are more aware.
She's extremely lucky that nothing worse happened, that he just screamed at her and then ran off. Because we don't know what he could have had on him or what he would have tried to do. That what, Japan is safe? I've heard otherwise, that it's not necessary, because I think when, isn't all mobile phones sold in Japan have, when someone takes a photo, it automatically has the shutter sound, because some people try and take photos with individuals on trains and even like upskirt stuff. That's like weird. That's what I've heard. So I think there's just a lot of good PR with Japan. Like, cool. Probably majority is nice, but traveling alone, I don't know. If I know for a fact from now on she ain't doing that. If anything, traveling, because in that hotel, nah, mate. It's one of them ones where I actually would just rather be haunted by a ghost than an actual human that's under my bed.